Normally when you click on one of these videos, you'd be expecting one of my usual meandering but hopefully informative game review-centric videos. And since you guys seem to be liking those videos, I have no problem continuing to make them my main focus. But today we're going to be talking a bit about the current state of the channel, do a quick recap of where this channel was at the start of the year, what I've learned from you guys and how I've altered and improved this channel and its content since, and what we as a community can look forward to between now and the end of next year, hopefully. I think it's safe to say 2020 has been a very mixed year, a very dynamic year, lots of ups and downs. For me in this channel here, I assume the year would be a pretty normal one. I'd go from about 450 subscribers to maybe 600 or so by the end of the year, maybe garnering around 2,000 to 3,000 views a month. But here we are in November 2020, a day away from Thanksgiving. Actually, it is Thanksgiving now, and there's just so much I have to be grateful for. Instead of having around 600 subscribers, I now have over 1,000.
Oh my god! Oh! Oh my god!
I still can't believe that. And I'm on pace to cross 1,100, possibly in early January, maybe even by the end of this year. Instead of getting 2,000 or 3,000 views a month on average, my channel now gets between 10,000 and 15,000 views a month. In the past year, I've accumulated almost 7,000 public watch hours, almost doubling the 4,000 public watch hour requirement necessary for your channel to apply for YouTube monetization. My videos now get more comments on average than ever before, with most of you seeming to actually not only enjoy the content, but also eager to discuss and debate in the comments, which I am always up for. I never want to be one of those YouTube content creators who just lets hundreds or thousands of comments just pile up, never bothering to engage with their community directly. I'm a hands-on kind of person. I might not respond to literally every single comment posted on my channel, but I do tend to at least respond to the vast majority. Even at my current size, I probably spend a little less than an hour a week reading your comments, responding, or just giving a thumbs up. When I say I care about hearing what you guys say, it's not just empty words and end of video catchphrase like you might hear from a lot of other channels. I actually mean it. I enjoy the back and forth dialogue. There have been some times when you guys have brought me some tidbits of information about a game or developer that has been very useful to me. Or a few times where you guys have rightfully called me out for fumbling the ball and not going into as much detail as, into a game as I should have. Or maybe I didn't address a certain issue that I should have. I'm very receptive to critical feedback. Sure, in that moment, if someone comes after me in what looks like a hostile way, I might not immediately register that sometimes they might actually have a point. But in hindsight, sometimes if the truth is really evident despite their tone, I will often later reflect on it. Maybe I could have done this better or that better. I'm not a perfect content creator. I am not a perfect person. I'm still a small creator. And even now, there are still things I can improve on. But thanks to your feedback, I'm much better at what I do here and now in 2020 than I was a few years ago when I was just doing this all only for my own amusement. I mean, to be fair, I'm still doing this mostly for my own entertainment, but it's not like I'm just going to be raking in the dollars right away. Money, it just isn't the primary focus here. Sure, I wouldn't mind earning a bit more, but still, content quality is first and foremost in my mind. And the quality of my videos has improved significantly over the past year compared to years past, and that's largely due in part to the feedback many of you have provided over time. So that said, enough talking about the past, and let's get into the more interesting matter at hand, what I hope and plan to do with this channel in 2021. As for the immediate future, let's talk about what games are on my consideration list for possible review, starting with Empire of Sin, because I'm a huge American history buff and the rise and subsequent collapse of organized crime is one of my particular special interests. One rather obvious AAA game I probably am going to cover is Cyberpunk 2077, because why not? I deliberated whether or not I would do a video on Cyberpunk, but this is CD Projekt Red we're talking about, and it's really hard to say no to covering one of their games, especially a game like this which has had nearly unprecedented levels of hype and industry-wide drama leading up to its release. I'm also considering doing some kind of review or a first impressions video on Red Dead Redemption Online. I know Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't exactly new at this point, but with Rockstar now spinning off Red Dead Online into its own standalone game on Steam and consoles on December 1st, I figure what better time than now to cover it, but there probably won't be as long a video as the others. As far as January goes, I will be covering Hitman 3. I did do a video on the 2016 Hitman game years ago. That being one of my earliest game review videos, I still have fond memories of it, although it's probably nowhere near the same quality standard as these ones. Then Hitman 2 came out, and I ended up skipping that one for whatever reason. Probably just time constraint. I may end up going back and making Hitman 2 my other review for December, I don't know. But either way, Hitman 3 is definitely up on the chopping block for January 2021. I don't know what else I'll cover since January is kind of a slow month for mainstream game releases, but I'll figure that out when we get closer to the end of the year. Now, as for more general channel-related plans regarding 2021 and beyond, well, it's twofold, so to speak. Firstly, I plan to continue doing what I'm already doing. Weekly 15 to 20 minute long review and first impression type videos. Everything you've come to expect from me in the past year will continue on in 2021. The only differences will be subtle ones. By continuing to increase in size, you make it easier for me to professionally approach game developers, publishers, and PR agencies for review key requests. In order to acquire games to cover on YouTube channels, creators like myself send out requests commonly known in the industry as a review key request. The common implicit or explicit understanding being that once granted a Steam key or otherwise virtual access to said game for the purposes of creating YouTube content, you then have an obligation to produce said YouTube content shortly after being granted the review key. Being granted a review key is not the same as being sponsored. It is not the same as a paid review. It is not compensation for said review. It's just not very practical to expect gaming channels to spend potentially thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars a year buying every game they plan to do a video or multiple videos on. It's a fairly standardized practice and one that I plan to continue, and thanks to you guys, it's going to be made even easier. The larger we grow, the easier it gets. Well, except for the publishers, I'll probably piss off by saying the wrong thing, but whatever, fuck them. I traditionally have used intermediary sites like Keymailer, where I, the developer or publisher, don't really have that much direct contact. This is a two-edged sword, however, because without having direct access to developers and publishers, my access to game review keys is somewhat limited. So as a means of investing in this channel's future, and because of your continued growing support of what I do, I have officially set up a professional email address to handle press inquiries on behalf of this channel. It goes without saying that I will not be using that address to respond to questions or comments. Again, the best place for that is in the comments section. Even if it's not a question or comment specifically about that video you posted under, I'll always be happy to answer any of your questions or comments there. Now, my new business email address will also allow me to potentially explore other opportunities as well. I'd love to potentially do Q&A interviews with developers over email, then transcribe and discuss those exchanges in a video format. I'm not a live kind of person. I wouldn't consider normally having other people on this channel and doing a live interview. That's not my style. I'd love to be able to incorporate more content featuring smaller game developers and publishers. There are so many games on the market, it's hard to keep track of all the games that aren't primarily showcased by Steam. Steam does a very poor job these days of showing people anything other than mainstream games. It's kind of the same as YouTube now. I'd love to give something back to the indie community. Indie games have long been a traditional pillar of this channel, and I'm looking forward to doing some more content promoting indie games and smaller production games. So definitely expect semi-interview style content now and then as well. I'm still figuring out the format, so everything's still a work in progress. So if you have any feedback on that, I'll happily take it. On a unrelated note, one question I have gotten privately from a handful of people is if I would consider doing sponsorships in my videos, if I continue to grow larger to a point where sponsors would potentially be interested in reaching out to me. And the answer is, not really, but maybe. I don't know. For me, it would have to be a sponsorship from a company that I wouldn't otherwise normally talk about in my videos. Like, I'm not going to accept a sponsorship from a company like EA or Activision. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't accept something like an invitation to a press event from them, because that would involve me acting more like a journalist and not really as a reviewer. But I honestly wouldn't feel comfortable taking money from a company who makes products I might end up reviewing. It would be dishonest and a massive conflict of interest, so. Also, it'd have to be a product or a service that would actually be something I'm comfortable with. Something useful to both me and you, something that isn't just a scam. Overall, sponsorships isn't really something I'm concerning myself with at the moment, but if I were to do one, it wouldn't be from a game developer or a sponsor. Overall, I don't think sponsorships is something I'm really going to have to worry about anytime soon, but that's my stance on it, just for the record. Sorry if that sounded like a roundabout answer, but it's just so hard to calculate what I would or wouldn't do, since it kind of depends on the specific situation. Again, take comfort in the fact that I'm small enough right now that I won't have to deal with that for a while yet. So no, I'm not planning to go full sellout like IGN or Polygon. And I think that gets to the crux of this discussion here. As excited as I am to be monetized, don't think I'm going to be going overboard trying to suck the money out of your pocket like Rockstar Games or something. I have no plans to set up a merch store or whatever the hell bigger channels do. Same goes for Patreon and all that. My expenses month to month aren't all that high right now, aside from buying certain games that I can't otherwise get access to. My goal is just to balance out my expenses using YouTube AdSense. If it gets to the point where a year from now I decide to increase the production budget of these videos, then I may look at other secondary ways to monetize, but for now, expect the same kind of content that you'd usually get from me. I just want to continue doing what I enjoy doing, and your support so far has continued to incentivize me to continue on that path. There have been several points on my journey to 1,000 subscribers where I've teetered on the edge of not doing it anymore, of just giving up and walking away. And I am really grateful for the fact that I continue to persevere to this point. And I don't think I'm going to get tired of saying it. Your support has definitely been a big influence on me continuing to do what I do. My goal is still to release about 50 review videos over the course of 2021. I'll be keeping with my roughly once a week upload schedule. I'll be in college again in the spring going full-time instead of part-time, which for me will be an adjustment. So definitely don't expect anything more consistent than once a week. While I'd love to do 2 videos a week, I just don't see that as possible. That's basically all I have planned right now. I definitely have some more looser long-term plans for the channel, and if come next year the channel continues to skyrocket upward, I look forward to discussing that then. If I were to recap and summarize everything, all of this, into one simple conclusion, it would be that I'm completely blown away by all of your support, and I've tried harder than ever this year to prove myself worthy of it, and I'll continue to do so. I look forward to being with you in the weeks, months, and hopefully years to come, and I hope you'll be here with me too. As a fun way to end this video, I've got a little challenge for you. I dare you to leave one little bit of feedback, something you feel I could continue to work on and be better at in 2021. I can't promise that I'll always be able to fulfill your challenge, but I'll keep it firmly in mind, and I'll try to live up to it if I can, with the sometimes limited time and resources I have at my disposal. Let's not stop the momentum here. My goal for next year is to triple our current size. If we can end next year at just over 3,000 subscribers, I'll consider doing something special to mark that occasion. I'll also let you guys make suggestions for that. I'll also let you guys contribute some ideas for what I should do then. On that note, I'll stop rambling. Thank you each and every one of you for being here and helping me cross this milestone. Your support, whether vocal or silent, makes me and my efforts feel validated. Let's keep crossing milestones together. This is WarriorDan signing out. Stay awesome, everybody. Stay safe and peace out.